I think we all get into ruts sometimes. Reality can close in, and there are only two things you can do to cope with it. Train for a marathon or connect with media, and I'm wondering which approach I chose. In the past, I've really found purpose and guidance through media. Characters represent the best and worst parts of ourselves, and there's nothing more special than finding yourself through it. In a sense, they've guided me into becoming the person that I want to be. To level, here's some backstory. I'm a sophomore in college without a semblance of what I want to do with my life, which I hope some people can relate with, but who knows. I fear that I'm making life choices that I can't really turn back on. This sort of felt like the last summer where I could actually be a kid before the crushing expectations of adulthood find me and I have to start applying for internships to graduate. Despite still feeling like I'm 16, I'm coming to a point where I need to be decisive and direct, where the choices I make actually might make a difference in my life. I feel like my childhood is going away, and I wanted to accomplish something. I guess a game about exactly that could prove useful. Cutesy pixel graphics and a cutesy pixel soundtrack, I was ready to conquer this mountain. Okay, well, even through all that, Celeste may have changed my life. Or, that's a little dramatic, but for me, I think that Celeste came into my life at the exact right moment. I didn't know too much about Celeste, other than the fact that it had a story that revolved around mental health. Because of this, I went in with really high expectations about how this game was going to make me feel. With its themes of anxiety and self-doubt, what more could a young adult relate to? And it looked like exactly what I was looking for. What I didn't account for was the struggle of actually playing the game. Everyone can admit, Celeste is a really hard game. I originally wrote this script trying to defend myself, how I wasn't crying about how the game was too hard, but I admit, I am literally crying about how the game is too hard. Every strawberry that I couldn't collect or puzzle that I couldn't immediately solve would cause me to stress out, which I think might be the point of the game. I mean, my legs and entire body would genuinely cramp up, so basically me and Madeline were doing the same amount of exercise. In the past, I've put down every game that has shown me a challenge. This is what my Steam library looks like. As we may notice, these games aren't known for their difficulty. I will purchase games. I will not beat them because I, unfortunately, am not a gamer. And as a girl whose hardest boss battle came from Thunderblight Ganon in 2019, I tend to stray away from anything too taxing. Celeste is a frustrating game, and for a game where I was trying to find myself, it was really disheartening to feel and be lost. I realized with this attitude that I was mentally stuck. The solution was right there, so why weren't my skills letting me do it? Normally I'd come to the conclusion that maybe this just wasn't the right game for me. But even after closing out of the game, I'd always open it right back up. So why do I keep coming back to this one? If I put it down, Madeline would never reach the peak of that mountain. She would stand there, proving that old lady right. She would never meet Theo again and feel the warmth of his campfire. I know she's a character, but if she couldn't do it, then that meant I couldn't do it. We faced the same struggle of self-doubt in both of our lives. Literally faced the struggle of self-doubt writing this video essay because I was nervous that it wouldn't be as good as other video essays on this game. We pushed ourselves out of our comfort zones. And if I failed, if I quit, she would too. One screen at a time. That's the approach I took. I take a break for a minute, close the game out completely, and come back just a little bit later. If I could just get out of my head for a moment, I could come back. Some days it would click. Most days it wouldn't, because I, once again, am not a gamer. But if I left, I could get out of my head, because getting through hard stuff can take time. The amount of deaths didn't matter. It was the amount of times you tried again. Celeste's grounding story is exactly what I, as well as many others, needed. When I reached that peak, it wasn't special because I'd finally completed a video game. Even though that was awesome, I should probably do that more often. It was special because the story this game told extended to what many of us feel about real life. Push through self-doubt to complete something you're not inclined to do. For some, it's strenuous coursework, for others it's getting out of bed. But if we take life one screen at a time, it won't seem so hard. Madeline couldn't get rid of her fear holding her back from doing her best, but she could embrace and grow with it. We all have voices telling us to turn back, to not take any risks. For me, becoming a young adult had me questioning who I am and what I really want. Sometimes it's too late to turn back, but if you try hard enough, you can set yourself up so that you don't want to. So when we reached the peak of that mountain, for once in my life, I was glad I didn't quit. Yeah, so play Celeste, because I played it and I beat it.
What the fuck?